What's up? My name is John from John Branch for Photography, and I'm a wedding photographer and have been shooting for nearly 10 years now. A while back, I did a mini workshop in New York City, and I wanted to share that with you. Basically, for this mini workshop, I got together with a group of people, and we first talked about some wedding photography and also went out and did a couple shoot. This is a preview of the portrait session, but if you want to see the full Zoom presentation and also the full portrait session, make sure to check out the link in the description below, and you can get the full course there. All right, so again, mainly today we're talking about like being with your couples and shooting and stuff. I'm gonna talk about settings and stuff as well. But like I was talking about before, one of the biggest things again is setting expectations. So like if this were my couple, we had already done all the emails, we've already done a meeting, they booked me and everything. At this point, this would be our first in-person meeting. And usually I always start out my engagement sessions, which is telling them a little bit of what's going to be going on. Again, setting expectations is like the main point always. So even in this case, we'll be doing some of that since they're not a real couple. I still have to give them some expectations of the shoot. Regardless of what you're shooting, you have to do that anyway. So basically, y'all may or may not have seen any of my YouTube videos. You probably haven't at all. I be on that YouTube. I be YouTubing.
I checked out the ones with Emily.
Yeah, she's so good. But yeah, so this is gonna be like a fake couple shoot.
Yes.
I don't want to do too much coupley stuff with y'all. So if anything's too far for you, just throw up a yellow flag and fine us or whatever. But for the most part, we'll be posing like that and stuff.
Yeah.
I tend to shoot very candidly, so I'll kind of pose you a little bit, and that's just how we'll go. And then I'll give them a chance to shoot too, which some of them may also give you some direction. But remember, y'all, they're not a real couple, so don't be like, yeah.
We talked it over. We're comfortable.
Yeah, they're comfortable, but don't take it too far. So, but again, so if that was a real couple, it would start out like that. Except for me, it would more so be like, okay, guys, like, don't worry about having your photos be perfect. We're gonna have a fun time. That's really the point of this engagement session. So y'all can see how I shoot. We can get some fun photos together, and yeah, just have a fun time with it. Don't worry about posing too much. I'm gonna put you in a place, you'll be fine. If anything's weird, I'll let you know. But other than that, whatever. And then at that point is when I start just kind of like talking about whatever. Just some light talk while we're walking and stuff. Try to find some common ground or something, like where you're from. One thing that's helped me out recently is because since I've lived up now in Boston and New York, New Jersey for like 16-ish years, but I'm from North Carolina, there's a lot of people coming from North Carolina down or are from North Carolina and living up. So I have this like connection of kind of knowing each area. So that's always nice because it's like, oh yeah, he's in Jersey. And they're like, oh, you're Jersey, oh yeah, and whatever. So just, find something to kind of go from there. So I have the new 33 on me. Oh my goodness, my ISO is not on. So like settings, and I didn't even format my SD cards. The way I do my settings, and this is wedding day stuff too, it's a little bit easier when engagements. And again, this is like the easiest lighting. Yeah, it's a clear day, but it's also kind of like dusk and a little bit of clouds. But the way I like to approach my settings is that first and foremost, I treat my ISO as my base. It's the foundation of everything I do. I don't like to change it. So ISO is always first. Whenever I walk into any kind of lighting situation, my first thought is, how bright does this feel to me? And then I set ISO based on that. Aperture is obviously, I'd like to deal with it more like a stylistic setting. So I think of it more of like, how much bokeh do I want, basically. So I'm pretty much wide open all the time. I rarely stop down. And then after that point, all I really have to change is my shutter. And that's how I approach everything. So if I'm in a dark room, it's the same thing. I walk in and immediately go, great, let me raise my ISO some because it's kind of dark. I'm already wide open, shutter. And that's how I got over. I was talking earlier, I don't know how much anyone heard it, but I used to shoot in aperture priority. That's how I got past that, by having that process of being like ISO first, always, set that, don't change it. Aperture is usually wide open just because stylistically that's what I want anyway. We're doing portraits. And then shutter speed that's the one that changes. Obviously you don't want to go too far under like 1/200, but that's also up to you. The biggest thing to keep in mind, which I'm sure most of y'all kind of know, but when you're shooting people, you don't want to go that low either. IBIS is not going to save you from motion blur, so you never want to go that low, like ever. Because that's one thing I always see people like, yay, IBIS. I don't care about IBIS because I shoot people. If they move, then that's a problem. So I don't care how steady my sensor is, you know. But if I'm doing like a reception area, then I can go down to 1/60, 1/40 with IBIS and be fine. So let's hit some of these poses real quick. So one thing I like about this area, obviously, is it's very shaded. We stepped back, so we have the light kind of coming down. You can kind of see that. You see here? You have the line. You can see the light kind of hitting a little bit of shadow. It's not that big of a deal, and the lighting's nice. I usually love to pick a shady area. I'm one of those natural light, give me the shade kind of guys. So if it was a bright day, like I would still come in here and it would be trickling in a little bit, and I would just find the most shade. So let's do a typical what I call chest to chest. So y'all are just gonna be holding each other chest to chest. Yeah, and see, they'll usually do it however they're going to, and that looks fine. One tip for chest to chest always is if you have bride and groom, bride will be on the right because ring hand shows here. So usually always set her on your right, unless she's like totally just not down with that side. But mention to her that your ring will be showing, and they usually be like, oh, it's fine, whatever. But that's typically a normal chest to chest there. And that's awesome how y'all are pushed up together. That's perfect. So right now my settings, I'm at 250 on my ISO because it's pretty bright. I up a little bit. Shutter's 250 to 320. And I'm at f1.2, which is wide open. That's perfect. And y'all just kind of pose with each other while you're there. Beautiful. Yes, yeah. That's the biggest trait of a good model is acting, really. People be hating. I hate when I find models and they're like, they don't know how to act. Y'all can jump in there.
Okay, now does that come back to play, meeting with them, proposing before the actual shoot?
Yeah.
Because you can get them used to the camera and what you're looking for, so you don't have to go through that day of. And I've had some awkward people like, even
Oh,
if they're
yeah.
in love and they want to be with each other, they feel uncomfortable.